Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and this is your Parables of the Bible. And this is your daily Bible class, by the way. Matthew chapter 13, 3 to 23, gives one of the most powerful and dynamic parables of all. And that is, of course, the parable of the sower and the seed. Jesus told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. And as he was scattering the seed, some fell among the path, and the birds came and ate it up. And some fell on the rocky places and did not have much soil, sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and withered because they had no root. And other seed fell among the thorns, and it grew up and choked the plants. But still other seed fell in good soil, where it produced a harvest of 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. He who has an ear, let him hear what is being said here. And then he says, his disciples came to him and asked him, why do you speak in parables? He said, the knowledge of the secrets of heaven have been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has been given more, he will be in abundance. But whoever does not even have what he is taken away from him. That's why I speak in parables. So those things they did not see, or hearing, they did not understand. It says in them is the prophecy of Isaiah. You'll be ever hearing, but never understanding. You'll be ever seeing, but never perceiving. For this people's heart is callous, and they hardly hear with their ears, or they might close their eyes. Otherwise they might see, and with their eyes and with their ears understand, with their hearts turn, and I will heal them. But blessed are you because they see, and your ears they hear. For I tell you the truth, many prophets and righteous men long to hear what you see, but do not see it, or hear what you hear, but do not hear it. Listen to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches it away from what is sown in his heart. And this seed which is sown along the path is the one who receives the seed that fell on rocky places, is the man who hears the word and receives it with joy. But because he has no root, it only lasts for a short time. When trouble or persecution come because of the word, he quickly falls away. The one who receives the seed among the thorns is the one who hears the word, but the worries of this life and deceitfulness of wealth choke it, making it unfruitful. But the one who receives the seed that fell on the good soil is the one who hears the words, understand it, and produces a crop yielding 100, 30, or 60 or 30 times what was sown. Now what Jesus is talking about here, of course, is the fact that there are 4 types of soil. There is the soil that, well, as it says here, I'll go on here just back for just a moment. He says the one who hears the message is the one who is sown on the rockiness of his heart. That's what he's saying here through this. He says, basically, he says the birds, the path. The path is where it's quickly snatched away. They receive the message, but because of the hardness of their heart, they don't receive the message, and it's taken away from them as soon as it is sown. And then, of course, there's the individual who receives the word gladly, with joy. Oh, that's a great message. I love that message. But then, when the persecution that comes and the evil that comes associated. Years ago, I had an incident with a lady. Her name was Georgia. And Georgia received the message with gladness. But about 2 months later, she came to me and she says, I can't do this. I have to give this up. She says, my friends have all left me. My friends don't understand what this is all about. And she says, I'm going to give up the message. My heart broke when that happened. Why? Because she had received the message with joy. But then, when it really came down to it, when she lost her friends, when she had some persecution, she gave up the message. And then there are those who receive the word, but the cares of this life and the riches of this life and the things of this world choke away the message. And before you know it, it is gone. You see, what Jesus is saying is simply this. Right now, he says, you men, he was talking to his disciples, he says, you guys have things that are given to you that the prophets and the Old Testament people wanted to see. You see, the people of Jesus' generation is just like the people of this generation. They hear, but they don't hear. They see, but they don't see. They perceive, but they don't see. They want to receive, but they don't receive. Because the simple fact is that their mind is totally wrapped up in this world. The world, the flesh, and the devil are leading around by the nose. They're not getting any of this thing. But Jesus says what can happen is if your heart is good soil, if you receive the message, it is going to take root and it's going to start producing a harvest of 30, 60, 100-fold. What Jesus is saying is watch your heart. Make sure that your heart doesn't get too hard. Don't allow the things of this world to take away what has been given to you, what's been sown into your heart. Yes, there are people who have stone hearts. I remember one time I gave a wonderful presentation to a young man. And the young man looked at me and said, "Nah, I don't want it." He says, "I'm just here because my friend invited me to church." And I'll never forget that. I looked and said, I was dumbfounded. I gave the greatest message I'd ever given when it came to salvation. And the guy said, "Nope, don't want it." You know what? Those are hard-hearted people. And they're missing out the most wonderful message of all. And then there are those who will receive the message with joy, but like Georgia, give it away because it's too hard. And then there are people who receive the message, but what happens is the message is choked because they're too busy creating wealth. They're too busy with the things of this life. They're just too busy. And eventually the message gets choked out. What you need to be is the good soil that receives the message with joy and lets nothing dissuade you, keep you away from it, because what will happen is you'll be given much and you'll have a harvest of 30, 60, 100-fold. But the choice is yours on the condition of your heart. I trust that you have a good heart. My name is Robert Dean Steele. This is your daily Bible class. You have yourself a great and godly day.